Hello, everyone. Happy Halloween! I'm Jacob from jakesteak.com, a pop culture entertainment news website, and I'm also the host of the Jake Steak with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe. If you're listening to this on our audio platforms, give us a 5-star review. Download this episode and more episodes. And it is our Halloween special, and I'm so honored and privileged to welcome this incredible actor to the podcast. He originated the role of Jesse Tuck of Tuck Everlasting, where he received the Drama League Award nominee. And he also originated the role of Crutchie for Newsies the Musical, and also earned an Outer Critics Circle nominee. You could also find him on television on The Blacklist, Marvelous Maisel, and Nurse Jackie. He's also the co-author of Jack and Louisa series, which you can catch on Penguin Random House. As of this recording, has over 153,000 Instagram followers. And now for our Halloween episode, he originated the role of Harker on the Off-Broadway play Dracula, a comedy of errors. And he's also the host of the podcast companion Dracula, the Podcastula. Please help me welcome Andrew Keenan-Bolger to the podcast.
It's so spooky. How's it going, Jake?
I am so happy to have you here, Andrew. I have been a fan of your work for years. It's an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So, Andrew, when did you get interested in performing? How did that passion evolve and desire to pursue a career in the entertainment industry?
Oh man, I think like most theater kids, it happened very young. I started doing just community theater and school or shows at my school, and just transformed into something that I knew pretty quickly I really wanted to do. Sorry, my dog is barking. Something I really wanted to do with my life. And I was really lucky in that I had super supportive parents. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just checking on my dog. Archie, come here, buddy.
This is the first, Andrew. This is the first, because we haven't had a pet on a podcast before.
Oh my gosh. Archie, come here.
Hey everyone, Andrew's bringing a guest star, hopefully.
Okay, he's fine.
That's good.
Yeah, and then when I was 10 years old, my parents took me to New York to audition for my first Broadway show, and which I ended up booking. And so it switched from being a hobby to being something I did professionally really overnight, and definitely got bitten by the acting bug, and something that I've been doing ever since.
That's incredible. I am a theater kid, 5th grade to 12th grade, so you are awesome and killing it.
The best folk.
Absolutely. So many members of our generation recognize the role of originating the roles of Jesse Tuck and Crutchie. So why do these roles resonate to so many theater goers of our generation?
Oh man, I think Newsies especially it found its audience with young people in large part because it's a story about young people, and it's about young people finding their voice and standing up to truly the patriarchy and demanding their place at the table. So it does not feel like a coincidence that a show like that that people really that it found its audience. And then Tuck Everlasting, it is one of those surprises to me. I don't think anyone would have viewed it as a success on Broadway. It only had a very short run, but we did have a cast recording, and I think it is something that people discovered after it actually closed, and now is done all the time. Like I'm always getting tagged in stuff on Instagram of people doing it either at their high school or at their regional theater. And so the fact that it has had this whole life after it closed on Broadway has been so incredibly moving.
And those roles are incredible. So it was amazing that you're a part of that and represent our generation on the best way possible.
Oh, thank you so much.
Alrighty, so let's talk about our Halloween portion. So what attracted you to Dracula, a comedy of errors?
Oh man, so Dracula, it's a blast. It's like its name implies, it is basically a 90-minute marathon of laughs, very much in the style of like Mel Brooks or Monty Python. It's taking this story that we all know, like pretty well, that there have been hundreds of different versions of, but finding a ton of comedy and ridiculousness in the story. I think what attracted me to it. I am a huge horror movie buff. I love that genre. And it's been really fun getting to sort of send up those kind of hilarious melodramatic tropes that come with horror movies. And it's just a really great team. The writers, Steve Rosen and Gordon Greenberg, are two people I've been a fan of for a long time. And the cast is a mixture of people who I've worked with before, people I've been fans of, and then two new like real breakout performances by the two younger people in our cast. So it's been a real blast.
I gotta say, I am not as much as Halloween terrifies me. So Audrey 2 terrifies me.
Oh man.
Michael Jackson's Thriller terrifies me. Dark Spectre terrifies me. And anything with symbiotes, stay away from me.
I will say I don't think our production is terribly scary. It's definitely leaning on the comedy of it and the sort of ridiculousness. Um, Although I do have a nephew who is 8 years old who I thought it would not be very scary just because it's so silly, and he was slightly terrified. So it was maybe a miscalculation on my part.
I totally understand that because the thing is, I was 8 years old when I saw Young Frankenstein, so it creeped me out.
Oh man, okay. Well, yes. So maybe not for the total faint of heart, but I think the average person will not be too scared.
Alrighty, so let's talk about because there are three characters now: Harker, Jesse Tuck, and Crutcher. So, what are the similarities or differences between those three characters?
Sure. I mean, I think most interestingly, they all are from the exact same decade, which is wild. All three of the shows take place in the 1890s, which I don't know what is pulling me back to that time period, but it does make me sort of laugh. They're very different in that both kind of Crutchy and Jesse Tuck are incredibly like brave, super kind of brazen, powerful characters, whereas Harker, who I play, is kind of the exact opposite. He is scared of his own shadow, really, really timid, kind of weak, fragile character who ends up having a bit of he goes on a journey and finds his confidence, but I've played them very differently. Outside of it's still me, I feel like that is probably the only similarity. It's been really nice to get to sink my teeth into something completely new.
Alrighty, I gotta say this. I love hearing about your chemist from Dracula the podcast. I love hearing about the chemistry about this your cast, and I gotta say your chemistry with Jane was off the charts when I listened to the interview, and when I watched the viral moment. So you
Oh,
guys,
I'm so
can you
glad.
describe that chemistry to my audience?
Sure, sure. So James, who plays Dracula, I think just looking at the two of us next to each other is already kind of a sight gag. He is a tall Viking man. He is a full foot taller than me. So there is an immediate contrast as soon as we're on stage together. Uh, his character is basically everything that I'm not. And we're able to, in the rehearsal room, we found some really fun ways to kind of play up those differences. He pretty much throws me around the stage in really kind of hilarious ways. And because there are only 5 actors in the show, and we're playing close to like 20, so there's a lot of doubling up. And the show is so rapid fire that uh, we've gotten really really close just in terms of having to build bits and having to create these kind of comic moments together. It's given both a tremendous amount of on stage chemistry as well as just behind the scenes camaraderie.
Awesome. And what if, because because the cast is juggling so many
Mhm.
roles, and there's so many different props, what have been some of the challenges that this cast and crew has faced bringing that show to off Broadway, and how have you guys overcome those obstacles?
Oh man, I mean, I will say it was one of the harder tech processes. There are definitely some magical elements in our show, and there's like a lot of lighting and sound effects, but I think the main thing has been costume changes and prop handoffs. Because there are times where our cast changes characters within a scene. You run off stage, like three dressers frantically yank off your clothes and put on new ones, and you enter like within seconds. So all of the behind the scenes that is happening while the show is going on, I think the audience would like never believe the absolute organized chaos that is backstage. So a lot goes into it. I know, at least for me, there's one scene where I play three different characters in within the same scene, and I have three different accents, and that took a lot of juggling and making sure that I was saying the right accent with the right character on the right line. It was a lot of me standing in the shower and just like practicing it over and over and over again.
You mentioned two other characters besides Harker. Can you please describe them without giving away
Sure,
spoilers?
yeah. So I play Harker, who is my main character, who, if anyone knows the story of Dracula, is basically in the sort of love triangle between Lucy, the object of Dracula's desire, and her fiance Harker. I also play like a grave digger. I play a bosun on a ship. I play two suitors who are coming to visit the Westfelt residence. So yeah, it's bouncing around. I think I do seven different accents in the show, which is pretty wild.
I gotta say that's a great test to your credibility as a performer. Seven different accents in one show. It is pretty not a lot of people would be able to handle all that.
Well, I feel lucky to have been chosen to be put up to the challenge.
Alrighty, so let's talk about Dracula the podcast. I love saying that name. So, what were
It's
some of
so
your favorite?
stupid. I love it too. As soon as that we were coming up with names for it, I'm like, there's something so silly and dumb about it that I think really fits the spirit of our show, where we really do not take ourselves too seriously, and there is a lot of comedy derived out of the stupid. So
I gotta say, because what happens, because you've episode as of this recording, or when it comes out, and as this recording, you've sat down with some of your cast members. So, what have been some of your favorite episodes of the film?
oh, sure. Well, first of all, I think it's being on a podcast myself right now. I really love this format. I think it's such a great way to get to know more about the projects that you care about, and the fact that, to my knowledge, there is not really a companion podcast for any other shows right now. Which a lot of TV and a lot of film, they have companion podcasts where after the episode you can uh, go more in depth, and that was something that I felt like was missing in the theater market. So I was really glad to get to bring our audience a little bit closer to the project, and just to get to learn more about uh, the the people who inhabit this world. Um, I really liked this most recent episode that I did with Arnie, who plays our Van Helsing and Mina. Uh, he is like a crazy horror movie like encyclopedia. He's seen everything, like dating back to the 20s, and has just like an incredible knowledge of creature features. So for this episode, we played a game of trivia, looking at old timey movies. And every time one of us got the answer wrong, we would throw a shot glass of water in each other's face. So I was the main recipient of most of those
I felt
shot
I
glasses of
was
water, but it was pretty hilarious. And he really enjoyed getting to throw the water at me. So it is a fun moment to check out, and will be available very shortly on social media with a video component as well.
I gotta say, as I told you off stage, hopefully no equipment was harmed.
No equipment was harmed in the making of that.
And that brings me to your vampire moments of the week, because not just that with Arnie, which I cannot wait to watch, but I
Yeah.
could not stop laughing when you had during the lip read challenge with Jordan.
Oh
With
yeah,
the
yeah,
Gothic lip, it was hysterical, and not to mention, I think a lot of people are very happy with the push-up challenge, James.
yeah. Yeah, we knew when making the podcast that we wanted to have a visual element and something that could live on just beyond people who are fans of Dracula and tuning in. Something that could maybe go a little bit viral and people would find on the internet and be like, what is this? Is specifically like with the James push-up challenge. I assume most of the views from it are people who had no idea what Dracula Comedy of Terrors even is. So the fact that they found that and they have then gone and clicked and maybe learned a little bit about our show, maybe even bought tickets. I'm hoping. It's just been something fun to do with the cast.
I agree, and like I hope there's a part two coming, because I saw that on your Instagram post that you hope that there's a part two with Jordan coming, or
Oh
like
yeah.
or maybe even it'd be fun to see other cast members do that, because I think Arnie would be fun to do the lip read.
I know. As soon as I posted that, my other cast members were like, "Wait, I want to try that." It is surprisingly hard for people who are listening right now. It's basically one person wears noise canceling earphones and blasts death metal, and the other person says spooky phrases, things like "cursed coffins creak," and the person wearing the headphones has to try and lip read them. It is so much harder than you might think, and ended up with a lot of kind of hilarious accidents and bad versions of lip reading.
That's awesome. So, what have been some of your favorite Halloween traditions?
Oh man, as I said before, I'm a big horror movie fan, so I anytime it starts getting a little chilly, it is an excuse to dig um, into any kind of horror genre. I just started last night the new mini series. I think it's called The House of Usher, or The Rise and Fall of the House of Usher, which is Mike Flanagan's new series, and it's turning out to be very spooky. Yeah, so I love watching scary movies. I think this year I live in Brooklyn, so I think we're gonna go sit on my friend's stoop and give out Halloween candy and see what all the cool Brooklyn kids are dressed up as this year.
I think that'd be fun. I gotta say, I my Halloween tradition, Scooby Doo.
Oh, perfect.
I gotta say that, especially the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo, because the thing is, that's the only
Yes.
series of Scooby Doo that had monsters in it, real
Real
monsters.
ones, you can't just yank their heads off.
Yeah, you have to put them back in a chest of demons. And I gotta say, I was thinking of, speaking about Thriller, I was thinking about Vincent Price. It's like, it'd be so amazing if like they had someone like re-record it, like Mark Hamill's Joker doing Vincent Price's rap, Ian McDermott as Palpatine, as a
Oh
fan
my
of
god.
Power Rangers, Barbara Goodson as Rita, and even like Lana Parrilla as Regina,
Oh my
with that kind of
god.
sass.
1,000,000%. That sounds awesome.
Oh yeah, I gotta say. So we gotta start winding down our conversation. So, what, Andrew? Why should my audience A, go see Dracula, a comedy of terrors? B, why should they check out Dracula, the podcast?
Oh man.
And C, where can they find you on social media?
You got it. So I'll start with A. I think with as much very sad, scary things going on in the world right now, so many people have told us, like, I cannot tell you how nice it was to sit in a theater with a bunch of like-minded theater fans and just laugh for 90 minutes straight and to sort of escape any of the real horrors that are going on in real life. I cannot think of better medicine right now than just getting to be in a communal setting with people enjoying some theater. And I would also say, because it is spooky season, it really is the perfect piece of theater to see right now. I think if you are at all interested in this sort of behind the scenes look at what goes into mounting a piece of theater off Broadway, Dracula Podcast is a great inside look. All the episodes are recorded in my dressing room, so it provides like a real intimacy and kind of frank conversation with my castmates in a way that is also very spooky and very silly. And then if you want to get tickets for Dracula, you can go to draculacomedy.com. And you can find us on social. You can find at Dracula Comedy or at Dracula the Podcastula for my podcast, or you can follow me at Keegan-Bolger.
Absolutely. So, guys, have you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast? If you have, you're really missing out. Visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Podcast Chaser, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And guys, if you want to take off my take on what's going on with Masked Singer, what happened last season on America's Got Talent, and more of my interviews and also some music reviews, visit jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. Andrew, thank you so much for being on today. I really appreciate it. You are awesome. I'm so glad that Dracula the Podcastula and Dracula Comedy of Terrors is a roaring success.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Jake.
And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, goodbye, everybody. Have a great one.